Hello, my deranged and psychopathic sycophants. It's me, your androgynous neighborhood host, Jacob. And today we're talking about one of the oldest tropes in modern horror cinema, evil clowns. No, I'm just kidding. We're talking about drag queens. Obviously, it's drag queens. I mean, if you're in queer culture, you know about drag. Anybody can be a drag queen, and you probably know quite a few. I know I do, and I'm lucky to know today's guest, Annie Bellym, a fantastic southern drag queen right here in Mississippi who spilled all of the tea on southern drag culture and the importance of drag to the queer community and America at large. So, prepare to give yourself over to absolute pleasures and swim the warm waters of Out in the Woods. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome out in the woods. Well, in your woods, really, I should say. Um, this is Annie Bellym.
Hello.
Um, of course, I'm your friendly neighborhood host, and it's so good to be here. Thank you for inviting me into your drag
You're
home.
welcome.
Yeah, I just walked in and suddenly, like, my skin just did, like, a whole, like, 180. It didn't go, the spell didn't go all the way through, though,
No.
obviously. It's very,
It's surface level.
I went and got my makeup at Walmart, so I just look like a Walmart cake right now. Um, thank you for having me, Annie.
You're welcome.
Introduce yourself.
My boy name is Wesley Guthrie, but my drag name is Annie Bellym Balls Douglas.
No relation.
Not at all. Nobody wants to be related to this.
When did you know you were different?
Like, immediately. Like, I can remember getting in trouble for making clothes when I was a kid. And nobody really ever taught me how to sew. I just kind of did it.
Oh my god.
Like, there was a point where, like, I was, like, 6 or 7 years old, and I would, like, back in the day when we had CDs, I would put, like, Les Mis on, and then would, like, lip sync cassettes part in a full cassette
My
costume.
god.
Yeah. And then, like...
Would you use a towel for hair?
Yes. I never had hair. That was the one thing I couldn't make, was hair, back then. And I knew that if I bought any, my parents would be on me.
I can't do arts and crafts to save my life, so sewing is just not, like...
Oh, no. Anybody can do it.
I can't color inside the lines or anything, so, like, no. But, like, I would still, like, my mama, she would let me wear her slips, and I would pretend, like, I would have dresses. The closest to cinching, so this is how, I know I'm a huge man, and I'm shrinking again, but when I was a child, I was so small that I could literally get, like, like those big rubber bands. I would cinch my waist, and
Yes!
I would wear her big
I
shirts
did that
and, like,
too!
cinch the waist.
Like the ones that came on strawberries, yeah.
Yes, and, like, I would wear those, and she would be like, just don't put too many on or else it'll cut you in half.
Oh, I wish.
I believe that. No, exactly. I was like, I look like Velma from Scooby-Doo. But yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you never had to worry about the closet.
No.
Okay.
No. I was, like, forced back into it, I feel like, a lot. But, like, everybody at school knew. Like, I literally responded to faggot until I graduated school. Because I didn't even know that was a bad word. And,
Really?
Yeah, I know. I look back on that and, like, cringe. And, like, I should have busted that.
Because people probably thought you were just, like, a clown. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like,
they did. Of course, that was in, like, Will and Grace days. So, like,
Yeah.
everybody wanted a gay best friend at school. Like, everybody. But
I was gonna say Zane portrayed Purvis High School as kind of like not quite
did he go there?
super liberal. Yeah, he said it was not quite super liberal, but not quite super right wing either. It was
Well,
somewhere
that
in the
was
middle.
way after I left.
Okay.
I
He said there was the
graduated in
incident.
2004.
Okay, yeah, he said there was an incident probably, I don't know, probably in the early 2010s where like a gay guy ended up just beating up a bunch of homophobes and everything
Yes.
changed after that.
I mean,
So
I did that, but that was too long ago for them to remember, I suppose.
some heroes don't wear capes. Some of them wear
Ball gowns.
ball gowns exactly. So speaking of that, so when was Annie born?
Annie Bellym. Well, let me go back to when I was 15. I had like a big falling out with my parents, and they were really religious, and they went to a church where they tried to like exorcise me, and I know you have some experience with this.
Yes.
So that was a thing, and then afterwards I was on my own, and so what I did was work at Subway because that was the only thing that would
Like you
hire a
do.
15-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked at Subway, and one day they just decided to fire me, and that was like some family drama. Like the woman had fired one of her twin daughters to hire me, and then there was like a period of waiting, and then she could hire the daughter back. So she fired me and hired the daughter back, and
That's like a Mississippi thing too. Like
yeah.
that happens more often
Oh yeah.
places than you
Everybody
would
works
think.
with their mom and dad. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, and so that happened, and I was literally sitting on the sidewalk outside of Purvis's Subway, crying, and this guy came up to me, and his name is Billy Barton. Look him up on Facebook. He's a great guy. He's owned 2 gay bars in Mississippi. That are not around anymore, unfortunately. But he's a really cool guy. And he said, "You have a good face. Why don't you do drag?" And I was like, ugh.
Drag what?
And so from 15 onwards, I was like, I'm already doing it at home. Like,
Your best kept secret actually turned out to
Right,
be
to the-
your biggest
took
asset.
it to the big time.
There you go. Well, of course not overnight.
Right. No, it took 15 years.
So how would you say the name came about for Annie Bellym?
The name was, so my first degree that I was in school for was historical costuming. It was costuming, design, and construction with a historical emphasis from William Carey University. Don't ever go there, children.
Go Knights. Is
yeah.
it the Knights?
Yeah, Knights,
Okay.
don't go day. And so I had the degree, and I was like, I really want to use this. Because I've always been really fashion-oriented person. Like, even when I was a kid, I watched, like, runway shows and stuff. But I wanted to do, like, a mashup of, like, historical clothing with current trends and, like, go back and forth with that. And I was like, well, what name? And I wanted it to be, like, a fun name, like a, like a pun or whatever. And so I came up with, I said, well, antebellum is Latin for before the war, Catholic school. So I was like, if I did that, I could go with like a before the war, could be really any period of history. So I could take inspiration from all of that and still have the racist connotation, which at that time I had formed Annie as like an old Republican, like sign carrying Trump supporting woman, based on my grandma actually.
Really?
Yeah, it was based heavily on my grandma.
I was gonna say I'm getting like Betty Davis vibes, but like.
Oh yeah, and so I was like going to like rallies and that was whenever they had what is the people with the guns.
How many? The NRA?
It was like Sarah Palin and her like remember they had that like weird niche Republican
The
group?
Tea Party?
Tea Party.
Yes.
Yes, they were the Tea Party, and I would go to those things carrying a gun in full drag, and people were like, "Oh yeah, like, whoa, yeah, look at this, we have a gay."
It's tokenism.
Yes,
It really is. Like
they were
they,
like, "We got a gay, y'all don't." Well, they had all the gays. So.
right, exactly. I was gonna say they think like it's one of those things where they think they're like they don't want to actually give us rights or acknowledge
No,
our
or
culture
anything.
unless it benefits.
Right, unless we do their hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which like you don't have to, y'all. You if they're not gonna
No.
bake cakes for us,
Who?
I mean, huh.
No.
So and so that was obviously, you know, you were probably an object of controversy
Oh, yeah.
at that time for
Yeah.
that.
I had people come up to me in shows and want to punch me in the face. That was just in Mobile. That was just the one time.
Sorry, Mobile.
But your boy can fight, so
There you go.
We made it
Also,
through.
Mobile, did you really start Mardi Gras? We're not going to get into
No.
that.
No.
She's getting into it.
Oh,
But,
no.
So, how would you address the controversy behind your name?
I actually encourage that because that's when I come out on stage, you can tell who is a racist and who is not.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really interesting because most people won't even look until they realize what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have like back in the day I did Dr. What is her name? There was this woman who there was a big controversy. She said the N-word on her podcast all the time. And I would lip sync to that so that
Oh my
people
God.
would and then I would like throw the Bible at people.
Oh,
And
like
people,
physically? Like
yeah,
throw a
yeah. And then people in New Orleans loved it. They were like so into it. They were like, "Look at that stupid bitch! Look at that stupid bitch! Here's $20. You do you."
I have to eat so much shit to get $20.
Right.
If I knew that all I had to do, like, to okay.
Throw the
okay.
Bible.
Throw the Bible
at them.
Okay, like, so, but you've also kind of had to distance yourself from people in real life because
yeah.
some of them don't understand that it
Well,
is like,
I think the last election
mhm,
was. I saw it as a joke
mhm.
because who thought Donald Trump was going to win?
Not me. I'm sorry. I
mean,
really, you know,
I
here
don't
we
know
are.
anybody who did.
yeah.
So it was a big joke, and then as time went by, I started noticing people on my Facebook when I would say something in any way liberal would get offended, and I would be like, wait, what? And so I had to go back and make a post like, this was all a joke, like,
Right.
I am a liberal Democrat, please don't think I'm not.
Right, I was gonna say Wesley is actually like a lefty, like
Yeah.
in real life. So
Well, yeah, actually.
you
but-
spent the day yesterday correcting Trump tweets.
Yes,
Actually,
I did.
so,
Check out my Facebook.
um,
But he blocked me at one point on Twitter, and then the other day I looked and it was like open, and I was like,
Donald Trump blocked you?
yeah.
Oh my! Well, Donald Trump's. Well, no, he has his own personal Twitter, so he probably just
Yeah.
went through and was like, fag,
Oh,
fag,
yeah,
fag,
yeah.
fag, you know.
And I'm in drag on my profile picture.
Yeah, yeah. He could see that. I feel like he probably would have marketed you if you were serious about being a drag queen
That's
for
the
Trump.
scary part. Yeah.
yeah.
Because he's like, oh, I love the gay people.
Even-
I have a mix with a recording of him saying that he supports all gay people, and that was a banger for a while.
He have you seen the guy that goes around, the gay man that looks like Mike
Yes.
Pence that just pretends to be gay Mike Pence?
Yeah.
That's just we live in such a horrible, scary, but also beautiful artistic
yeah.
time, don't we? So yeah. So what real women influenced your drag? I know you just mentioned your grandmother.
Yes. I'm gonna go with Tilda Swinton.
Mm.
That's like my main one. Because we have similar facial structures. I'm learning how to do Reba McEntire really well.
Yes, yes.
I did that back when I did Madonna and Reba when I first started doing drag. And I'm trying to like go back to that.
Okay.
My first pageant I ever won, I did that the 1990 MTV Music Awards performance of Vogue
Oh my God, yes.
with the 18th century gown. I
Yes.
did that, and I won, and I got this tattoo that you can't see with this makeup on, but it's a mole, and it's right here.
That was a tattoo?
Yeah,
I did not know
it
that.
is.
Oh my
I
God.
need to get it touched up. You can barely see it, especially not under this, but yeah,
Well, when you've been scrubbing your face with,
everything.
everything.
Acid.
um, yeah, I was gonna say, my drag name is Sigourney Scully.
Oh my gosh.
If I ever like commit time to drag, which I don't think I'll ever have the time to commit to drag. The influences are, of course, Sigourney Weaver,
Yes.
And
Alien.
Dana Scully from the X-Files. Yes.
You're
So
gonna be a spoopy queen.
I was gonna say, so two big sci-fi influences. It used to drive my drag mother. Well, I'm not really a drag queen, but we'll say she's my drag mother.
Well, sure. Everybody has a mother.
It used to drive her crazy because I would just turn everything into something about space.
Yeah.
And she would threaten me. I would just be
Yes.
like, yeah, I'm just so spaced out.
You need to look up a queen called Uranacoma.
I saw-
Uranacoma. She's an alien.
What?
That's her drag character.
Oh
She's
my
an
God.
alien.
I was gonna say I saw You're in a Coma
Yeah.
at the Vo.
Oh, wow.
I
yeah.
did. I'm
That's
pretty
when
sure
I
I
met her.
did. Yeah.
Way back in the day.
I was gonna
It's
say
not in the day.
this was that it was only one time that I saw her. Every other drag show I went to after that, I didn't see her there. So
Yeah.
I think she was one of the highlights of my evening there.
Yes.
Though. So I mean,
She's a good friend of mine.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, tell her that she's
I
a
will.
great badass bitch.
And you're welcome for shouting you out, Uranacoma.
Thank you, You're in a Coma. It was
You're
a
only
lovely
$5.
evening. 2018, you improved 2018 for about however long your number lasted.
Well,
so
there you go.
So here's a big question.
Yes.
What is drag to you?
Ooh, well, drag is life. Drag is life because it can be anything. It can be anything to anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Because every person who sees you, you find they get something different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's so great, especially about our community, like the gay community at large, is that they can be shit-faced drunk, but they're gonna get that I hate Donald Trump now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they're there for it. Like,
Yes.
they're there for it. And I just thought one day, we have this platform, why don't we just use it?
Mm.
I mean, I understand that a lot of people do drag as like kind of a safe place for them.
Yeah.
To be like,
which it's valid too,
right. To be like, they gotta be pretty because maybe they don't feel like that in their real
Mhm.
life. Or maybe that distracts them from something else or whatever. But there's a lot of psychological components to drag, and it's just aesthetic. Like, aesthetic affects everyone.
Yeah.
That's why you'll see people like arguing about like drag race queens saying this one's pretty and this one's not.
Yeah.
And the other person says this one's not and this one's
Drag is kind of like using the body as a canvas,
Yes.
and then whatever kind of thing you're trying to invoke, you can put on that canvas.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So that's why I say life, because life encompasses everything, and could be anything.
Okay. That's like a really great answer. So audience, I'm sure you're wondering, how does all of this pertain to the Halloqueen series? Well, it just does, okay? Because there's a little known quote that there are 1 billion drag queens born every Halloween. And you know what, y'all? This is absolutely true. If if you're straight out there listening to this, just know that if you see that one gay friend of yours dressed as a woman this Halloween, that's the beginning of a beautiful queenery, yes. Okay? I remember my first Halloween as a woman. I went as the bearded lady from American Horror Story Season 4. I did. If y'all want pictures, audience, y'all please ask me. I will provide.
We gotta have them.
Yes.
Instagram.
So,
check it.
So why do you think that is?
I think because especially here in the South, gay society, with me being from New Orleans, it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in Mississippi, I met a lot of people who will give you their drag name, tell you they're a drag queen, yet they only do drag on Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, lots of them. I'm talking like probably 20 or 30 that I can name off right now. And you've never heard of them, and I wonder, like, I do this full time, why haven't I heard of it? Because they don't do it except on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason, because whenever I first moved here, I was really ashamed about telling people, because I'd moved to Chicago and like got really big in drag there, and then
Mm-hmm.
moved here. I did not want to tell anyone that I was a drag queen and that's how I made a living.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I would never get laid again, and that's the fear. And it's a real fear.
Is that the God's honest truth?
Yes, because I have had people on Grindr ask me what I do for a living, and then block me after I say drag.
It's funny that you say that, actually, because I know a guy that was like, yeah, I was with this guy for a while, then he told me he was a drag queen, and I just couldn't get it up for him anymore. So,
Yeah.
I mean, different strokes for different folks, obviously,
Right.
but, like, my God, I mean, you can
I
take
mean,
the
I can
drag off.
understand if like somebody was like, not making any money, like
Right.
if they were having a really hard time and just because like I was a waiter
right.
until like 2 years ago. Like yeah, like I just now got to where I could stand on my feet just from drag, and it's just there's this weird thing here where like people, it's very mask for mask here.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes, it is.
Like I'm the opposite. Like I would rather have somebody who is more effeminate
Mm-hmm.
because I love that. And actually, that's a big reason of why I keep coming back to drag is
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like emulating like people I've dated
Mm-hmm.
and like people that like I really like
Mm-hmm.
their spirit, their energy,
Uh-huh.
or whatever. Because I'm not like that.
So, in a way, do you think that's why it's such a big thing? Like, especially here, but like, Halloween is such a good, such a time for drag. Oh,
they're
well,
free.
yeah.
They're free to do whatever they want.
Right. You don't have to worry about mask
Yeah.
for mask. You
It's
can
not
be,
way of life.
exactly.
for them.
It's a safe option.
But you're going to go look in their closet, and there's going to be like a closet of female clothes.
Exactly.
And a closet of male clothes. You're going to be like,
I was also going to say, though, as it pertains to the series at large, I mean, first of all, drag is costuming. So,
Yes.
like, Halloween costumes, drag is an outward expression of an inner life.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's very much like the old traditions of Halloween,
Also, there's this thing where every gay guy just knows there's a fierce woman inside there. Like, they know it. They will
That
argue with
too.
you. They will say, when I do drag, I'm going to look better than you.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
for a number of years, I didn't do drag at Halloween because I knew there was going to be all these people trying to take my job.
Yes.
And I was just going to be like stressed out, anxiety. I cannot do that. But then it got to the point that they're not going to do it. So, except on Halloween.
There you go. So, do you think the Rocky Horror Picture Show also falls somewhere in there as far as it pertains to Halloween?
Oh, 100%.
Same.
I don't know any drag queen who has not played Frankenfurter, including me.
I was gonna say, so you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I was 16, and it probably was not good. But, yeah. I played Brad, I played Janet, I played Columbia, I played... Because there used to be, back in the day, there used to be this... do you know the Cloverleaf Mall over there?
Yeah.
That used to have a Rocky Horror theater that just played Rocky Horror.
Oh,
like,
really?
a lot of the time, yeah.
Oh, my God.
And so we did it there, and... yeah, I played like all the characters.
I was gonna say, you have magenta hair right now, so like,
Oh, yeah.
well, not the color, but the texture. Yeah, I was gonna say, David Bowie and Frankenfurter kind of unlocked this inner.
When did you see it? Did you see it when you were a kid?
I saw it when I was like 13.
It was a rule in my house that they were not allowed to let me watch that movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was a hard rule. I was not allowed to watch that movie. And so as soon as I was on my own, that was the first thing I did. With my first check, was I went and bought it and watched it, and I was just sucked in.
It's so funny that you say that because my parents, who are conservative and Christian, I mean, they don't. I mean, they're not. They don't love it, but my dad really likes it, and I know,
Crazy.
and also part of that I think is because Meatloaf is in it, and he loves
Yes,
Meatloaf.
yeah. Oh, I love Meatloaf too.
But I mean, same. I mean, other than his like support for Trump, but like,
Oh, is that a thing?
I think so. I think
Ooh.
you can look that up. He was one of Trump's favorites on The Apprentice, which y'all I did watch when I was younger, but that was before we knew he would be
Right.
the dictator of
Take over
America.
the world.
So yeah, no, Rocky Horror and David Bowie. It's one of those things where like I saw that, and also a little bit of Annie Lennox from the Eurythmics.
Annie Lennox is my heart.
I I saw all of these people, and I was like it was
Annie
just a weird
Lennox
thing
was
where it's
a
like
big reason for me doing drag as well, because she, if you look it up on YouTube right now, "Walking on Broken Glass" official video.
I need
She's
to
in
watch
18th
it.
century garb, and that is now my favorite song, and it has been since I was very little, 5 or 6.
Really?
And it was old then, yeah. But if you look it up, it has Hugh Laurie in it, Dr. House.
Okay, yeah.
It has John Malkovich in it in the video. Yeah, for this song, and it's set in the 18th century, and it's beautiful, and it's like my favorite thing ever.
Okay, so obviously homework for
But
everybody.
I saw her in this 18th century dress, and I was like, I have to know what the deal is with that. And it turned out that it was just an old, a period piece, and I didn't understand that at the time.
But still,
Right.
I mean, she just. I remember that Super Bowl performance that she
Oh my
had, where like she
God.
came out like on the bow of that ship,
Yes.
like oh my god, like slay me. Also, she did Freddie Mercury's part with David Bowie
Yes.
on Under Pressure when they performed
Yes.
it. I don't remember what it was that they were performing
I
at,
don't
but
either.
I just remember footage of him like chain smoking backstage and
Yeah.
like me being like, God, like how is he able to sing and play saxophone and smoke?
Who knows?
Who knows? Cigarettes probably weren't as deadly back then. Don't quote
You're
me on
right,
that.
probably not.
So here's the question: if you had unlimited monies at your disposal, what would your perfect Halloween number look like?
Okay.
Okay.
So
Don't steal these, by the way. These are copyrighted
I
now.
have two. I have two. The first one I do all the time, and the second one I've done a few times. But I would make it a lot better.
Okay.
But the first one is Delia Deets. That Ayo, that song.
Yes,
I do
yes.
that every year with the glove on my head and all that stuff. It's so funny. And the second one is I Put a Spell on You from Hocus Pocus.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
done that one, but I always have to be Sarah, and I want to be Winifred Sanderson.
I was gonna say.
Oh wait,
like,
you don't know Hocus Pocus?
Yes, I do.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I was like, I had to think for a second. I was like, oh, you were Sarah Jessica Parker.
Yeah.
When you want to be Bette
When her
Midler.
name's Sarah on the thing. too.
Right. Which, whatever. But
Because I'm always skinnier. Well, back when we did this, I was a lot skinnier than everybody else.
well,
And they were like, well, Winifred can be bigger, and Mary can be bigger, but Sarah has to be skinny.
I was gonna say also like Winifred, like just pop some prosthetic like buck teeth in your
Teeth,
mouth
yeah.
and like put the red wig on and
Yes,
you're sold. Like
right.
that's it.
You can buy that wig on Amazon. I have a link. I'll send you a link.
I used to tell my mom all the time that she looked like Winifred,
Ah!
and which she didn't. In hindsight, I mean, she had some of Bette Midler's, like her cheekbones and her nose, but she did not
Right.
have the teeth. I would definitely. I think that my ideal number. I don't know what I would wear, and I don't know what it would be, but I just know the song, and it's "Gimme, Gimme, Gimme, A Man After Midnight" by ABBA.
ABBA!
Absolutely.
ABBA is a drag legend.
Yeah, 100%,
Yes.
and that's the thing. Like, if I could, I would just be a drag queen that made a career out of nothing
Mamma
but
Mia
ABBA
stays
songs.
in my rotation. Always. I've performed it so many times.
Absolutely. I mean, also like drag. I think the version of Super Trooper from the most recent Mamma Mia movie with Cher.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not usually a fan of jukebox musicals like that, and Mamma Mia has its own
Well,
problems, but they did that.
I could listen to Cher sing anything.
True.
Ever.
True, true, true. So yeah, that would be yeah. Gimme a man after midnight. I first heard that song not by ABBA but by the A-Teens in the '90s
Oh,
on the Little
I
Vampire
remember that.
soundtrack, and I heard that and I was like, oh my god, this is like so boppin'. But the original
I
version is way better.
I have a mix that I do at Thanksgiving
Uh huh.
where I do Sorry Not Sorry as a pilgrim lady with an Indian head in my pocket. But I use the Kids Bop version. So it's like it's like the weirdest thing.
So listeners, if
But it's so
you
good.
can't see listeners, you can't see my face, but I was just my jaw was on the floor for that. So I just wasn't I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. If you could give any horror movie icon a
Oh.
drag makeover, which one would you choose and what name would you
Edward
give?
Cullen. Definitely Edward Cullen.
Is he a
Because, like, if you're gonna be in a family of people that are that objectively hot, you have to look better than that, my dude. You have to look better than that. I'm sorry to read you. I'm sure you're listening. Sorry to read you, but I could fix your face. Corrective makeup, honey. Like, make that nose a little bigger.
Okay.
Make that.
But Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse,
I think it was just the makeup in that movie.
I was gonna say because I found him quite attractive in The Lighthouse.
I used to find him really attractive in Twilight as well, but then I went back and watched it again, and I was like, dude, like, because like the guy that played Emmett, I don't know if you saw Twilight.
Yes.
Was so hot.
Yes.
And then like all the
absolutely.
women were like way hot.
Yes.
And then like there was like him, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, yeah. Also, it's interesting that you count that like as a horror movie
Oh
specifically.
yeah, you're right. I didn't
I
think
was
about
gonna
that.
say, I mean, that's fine. I would just, I would like to try my hand at Michael Myers on the mask. Not like
Right,
under
'cause
the
you don't know
mask,
what it
just
looks
like
like.
on top of the mask, like on
Right.
top of the William Shatner mask, and just see how that goes, and
Right.
put like a wig on top of it and everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I don't know what I don't know what I would call her. You know what? We're just gonna come up with the first thing off the top of my head. Antibacterial.
Antibacterial.
There we go.
She could be my daughter.
There we go. So let's see. What song would you pick if you had to lip sync for your life?
At this point in my life, if I've heard a song, I can lip sync it. If I've heard a song, because I have that expectation that one day I'm gonna have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to work at this Golden Lantern bar in Louisiana in New Orleans on Royal Street, and there have been times that I would come out and the DJ would play a different song because he's known me for so long.
Mm-hmm.
He would play a different song and I would have to do it. And so like at this point in my life, I'm like ready. I'm ready with any song, but my choice lip sync is Walking on Broken Glass by Annie Lennox.
Oh,
And
okay.
I finally, I had been putting it off because I wanted to do the best I possibly could. And I finally did it about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my heart. It was everything.
Did you feel complete?
I did. I could die now.
Good.
Speaking of which, Golden Lantern Bar, I had a heart attack there in the bathroom before a show one time.
Oh my god.
And then went on to do the show.
You mentioned that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so you never know when you're going to fall down or what's going to happen.
Live like it's gonna be your last day.
But then, like, I went on, I did it, got enough money to pay my rent forever, and then left.
There you go. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. But when we come back, we're gonna keep the tea hot, as the drag queens say, I guess. All right, welcome back. How are those commercials? Did you enjoy them?
Oh, I loved them.
That's right. Annie endorses everything.
Buy all those things.
Buy all of them, support all of them, donate to all of them. Which, like, by the way, happy Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes!
I'm not Indigenous.
No.
And you're...
I'm this white.
I was gonna say, yeah, but please, I encourage everyone out there, every day should be Indigenous Peoples Day because of all the fucking shit we've taken away from them. So please, like, by all means, donate as much as you can. Become active with your local Indigenous community, because they are downtrodden, to say the least. So speaking of the local community, my next question to you is, what influence has growing up in the South had on your drag?
Okay. There's like a cultural line between Louisiana and Mississippi.
Okay.
And it's weird. See, when I was growing up in Louisiana, like, I went to school, Catholic school, and everybody knew I was gay. Even the priest knew. And he was okay with it. Like, everybody was okay with it.
Was he plotting?
Except the one that tried to touch me, but that's
I was gonna say one of them was plotting.
Yeah, for sure. But he was hot, so it was okay.
Oh!
And that's actually a true story. But, so when I came here, it was like, everybody wanted to beat me up. Like, immediately. But, like, back in those days, I played a lot of sports, and I was like, I mean, come at me, bro. Like, really. I mean, I'm still kind of like that. Like, I am not one to shy away from a fight. Like, I've had people try to, like, steal my tips off the stage, and they're not okay now. Like, just knock them out. Security takes them out. It's okay.
If you see somebody with a sideways nose out somewhere in New Orleans, you know that it was Annie.
Yes.
You know it was her.
Me. For sure. I've chased people to get my money back. Like, I've football tackled people in a full dress.
And that almost feels like a Southern thing, like that kind of aggression, like just being willing to go.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I ever had that until I came here. And I had to develop that to combat the bullshit that was just coming at me all the time.
Yes.
And I don't know if I just went to, like, a really cool school in New Orleans or, like, but Purvis High School was not like that. It was very, they wanted to fight. They got, like, something out of it, like some kind of, like, I'm more of a man than you. But, like, my classic line was, like, you just got beat up by a faggot. Mic drop and walk away.
Mic drop and walk away, absolutely.
And we became friends after that.
Really?
So, yeah, with all of them. I mean, I don't follow them anymore, but, like...
I was going to say, because you might have to beat their ass again now for their current decisions, probably.
Right, because for sure... Oh my god, it's so... Like, that's the other thing here is, like, it's suffocating. Being surrounded by Republicans who just don't want to hear what you need. It's not, at this point, it's not what we want. It's what we need. What we deserve as human beings. And they don't want to hear it. They come up with some excuse why they don't want to listen to it.
And drag is definitely a good way to get somebody's attention.
Oh,
so,
yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Like, every time I come to the stage, unless it's in Jackson, but that's for a whole different reason. I'm not allowed to do political stuff there. But I always bring a political issue to the stage. Whether it's, I've done things about addiction. I've done numbers about age shaming. I've done numbers about, like, you name it, I've done it. But it's because that's our safe space. So I feel like our issues should be spoken about there.
Yes.
And, like, I really need, like, I need people to feel something when they come to my show. Like, I need them to know that we're on the same side. Because there's like, terrible squabbling in the gay community.
Yes.
And I feel like if we didn't squabble as much, and a lot of it is probably because of drag queens, but...
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But if we could come together, if we don't come together, we're going to die.
100%.
That's it. Mike Pence wants to kill us. He wants to... I have a quote... A recorded quote of him saying, I want to put them all in a gated jail. It's like a gated area with barbed wire.
What is that? A concentration camp? Anyway.
Yes. That is what it is.
So,
with your dyed white hair.
And that fly. That fly could smell it.
How was that fly?
That fly. But yeah, I mean, our existence is inherently political, and
Yes.
so in the South, I mean, I think I think walking, people are like, it's the small things like just being able to walk down the street holding your partner's hands, and it's like, yes, but also like in a place like this that is so oppressive, you need something that's more like an atom bomb going off,
Right.
and that
And
is
Matthew Shepard wasn't that long ago. And there was also a guy, was it last year in Hattiesburg, that got beat up walking home
it
from
was either
4th
last
Street?
year or the year before. My guest Sarah,
He moved to New
yeah,
Orleans because he couldn't live here anymore.
yeah,
I met him at a show.
and that's I mean, now we have the leader of the free world telling the Proud Boys to stand by, and once it kind of goes back to what we were saying before. We got to be ready to fight.
Right, right. And we're ready.
So, y'all, I may not appear like much, and I may get my ass beat, but at the end of the day, I was fighting for something good, right? So. The next question was, is drag therapeutic?
Oh, well, this is actually therapeutic to me because I have family who live here with me,
mm-hmm.
and they're all Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I want to talk about politics, I have to go to the gay bar. I have to go to work
Right.
to do it. And there are probably people who don't have that.
Which, also, thank you to the Guthries for opening up your home to me for this podcast. I know this is not exactly something that they're necessarily thrilled about, but it's nice that they do it anyway.
Right.
Which is, that's a lot in the South.
They love us, they just don't agree with our lifestyle.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, I totally understand that. I've talked about that before. Just, how depressing and how other you feel whenever you walk in somewhere and there are people who are just okay with someone throwing a child in a cage, or they'll make up an excuse for why they grab people by the pussy, stuff like that, or
that's another thing I have a mix with. Grab them by the pussy. Grab them by the pussy.
So y'all, if you haven't gone to see Annie in a show, y'all please.
Halloqueen 3911, come out.
It won't be political, though.
It won't be preachy. I'm going to be doing Disney characters.
Really quick though, y'all, if I was to do a drag show that was political, I've already told you this.
Yes.
I would want the announcer to introduce me as Kellyanne Conway, and I would come out and lip sync to Lies by Churches, which the chorus is, I can tell you lies, you can't get enough, make a true believer of anyone. So yeah, I think that's perfect. If you want to steal that, I would love to see your take on it.
Yeah, go do it.
Yeah, go do it, please, and make sure you film it and send it to me.
Yes.
So,
do it in your living room.
So here we go. We're right back around to it.
Oh yeah.
Despite the potential for drama in different drag communities, do you feel like drag could actually be an opportunity to bring the queer community closer together?
I think it is the reason. Because a lot of... They call, a gay club, gay church. But if you think about it, that makes the drag queen the preacher. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Because I know I get that feeling. Sometimes I just come off stage and I just cry because people are getting it.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting it, they understand, and they might be shit-faced drunk, but they still know. Mm-hmm. They still get the feeling that you're trying to give them. And that's just a feeling of unity, which is something that we don't often get. But when we do, people flock to drag shows. Especially gay people. Straight people do too. But that's being the preacher, I guess. You have the platform, use it.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, not, it's not always receptive, you know what I mean? I remember, and this is not a drag show, but y'all, true story, you talk about the gay club being gay church. I was at a Lady Gaga concert.
Yes.
For her Joanne tour. It was actually the night that she found out she had been nominated for a Grammy. And she was talking about it, and one of the queers in the audience with me said, "Nobody cares about your dead aunt." Of course she didn't hear it. Of course she didn't hear it. But, like, I mean, still, that in that moment I was like, you paid ticket money to come see this woman perform about her, you know,
and then
the
you
album.
get the opportunity to see something emotional come out,
Yes.
which most people haven't gotten to see.
Right, exactly. Which also, like, I cried, not gonna lie. She did a slow piano ballad version of Edge of Glory, and
I saw that.
And I just, you know, so, like, y'all, like, but that's the thing. That's like, you know, there's toxicity in every community. But, like, I would say,
we got to get it together.
I was gonna say we got to get it together. You know, I think part of that, you know, and this applies to the drag community too in America, is that, you know, we lost so many voices to the AIDS pandemic.
Oh my God.
In the 80s, so many different voices, points of view, groundbreaking, world-changing people who were snuffed out by a virus and a whole administration that was ignoring said virus, you know? And I think that a lot of older gays will say this, that a lot of people from our generation don't exactly appreciate the sacrifices that have been made.
No, you're right.
And I somewhat agree with that, you know?
But you don't have to sleep with them. Just listen.
Right? Yeah, like don't let them say that to, like, make them.
I mean,
I
do know a lot of them will try it. They will try, like, you. But no means no.
Right, exactly. You know, it's kind of like, you know, people who've never actually seen any action on the battlefield talking about their time in the war. You know, it'll get anyone's hero boner hard, but, you know, it's not exactly. But yeah, no, but I think there could be a little bit more appreciation, you know, and, I don't know, it's such a, but we're also growing and changing every day too. Yes. I mean, did we even talk about non-binary people 5-10 years ago?
No,
on a large scale like we are now? I mean,
absolutely not.
And I also think that drag kind of opened up that kind of avenue for people too, because it made people feel comfortable and see, like, I guess, an idea of what a blend of the two binaries could be, you know.
Well, Marsha P. Johnson, I mean, it always goes back to...
no mind.
She didn't have the word trans to use, but what we know of as trans now really applies to her.
Yes.
So, I mean, and she was a drag queen.
Yes.
That's what she was doing at the Stonewall, you know?
Exactly.
And I have so many trans friends, especially in New Orleans, that they come to drag because it's a place where they can be appreciated, they're safe, they know we're not going to hurt them or objectify them.
Yes.
And I think that's why I think that there's a potential in drag for everyone to feel wanted, safe, and appreciated.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's why, let's get into this really quick. I think that's why there's so much controversy around RuPaul's Drag Race, because, you know, RuPaul, I mean, thank you to RuPaul for all you've done to kind of bring drag to the mainstream eye. You know, definitely a lot more straight women watching it with their straight boyfriends and getting their straight boyfriends less uncomfortable with gay people. However, you know, there has been controversy with RuPaul as far as what gatekeeping, I guess, drag. You know, trans people can't do it. It's cheating if a bio queen, you know, if a bio queen does it. Even though Michelle Visage is kind of a bio queen, you know. Anybody can be a drag queen, a drag king, whatever you want to call it, you know.
If you'll watch, like, because we've had Canadian Drag Race and Drag Race Holland, if you'll watch, they try things like that in other countries before they bring it to the U.S.
Really?
Yeah. They try things out. So I think we're going to see a bio queen soon. I think so.
That's exciting. But the thing is, you
Plus
know...
they can't be outdone by Dragula. You know?
Right. I was going to say... But also, like, you know, Peppermint, I think, was the first openly trans. And
well,
honestly...
Jiggly Caliente was trans. And
Was she openly trans
she
on the show?
She was, but not on the show.
Okay.
Because they made her, she had like nails, she did nails every day and stuff, and they made her dress like a boy when she came in for her
I did not know that. You learn something new every day. Well, there we go. But I was going to say, I remember when Peppermint came on there.
Yeah.
I was so about it. Also, like, Peppermint slays,
yes.
y'all. I think Peppermint really was a contender.
Peppermint's been doing it like it ain't funny since like the early 80s.
I was going to say.
Like, I remember when I was in New York, she was there. And they would have, like, she would be outside in the street dancing.
Yes.
Like, and people would just be watching.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
And if it weren't for Sasha Velour's wig, Peppermint would have been the winner of season 9. So,
well, it should have been Shea Coulee, but whatever.
I mean, we won't get into that.
Whatever.
However, at least it was not...
At least Shea Coulee got her crown. So.
Right. At least it was not James Mansfield.
He's actually really sweet.
I was gonna say, I know that like in real life he's like a really great guy.
He is really good at wigs, though.
I was gonna say, and I liked the looks that he had.
Yeah,
like, I don't think there was. I think, but you know what? There's audience. If you out there into RuPaul's Drag Race, let me tell you this as somebody that is friends with a lot of drag queens. RuPaul's Drag Race is RuPaul's Drag Race, and drag is drag. It's two completely separate things. You can be a great drag queen and be bad at RuPaul's Drag Race. So
many of them have. Morgan McMichaels, one of the best I've ever seen, and I think they've like pegged her like casting wise as a loser now. So she's going to keep coming back. But that's the thing, she gets to come back.
Yeah.
All the time.
Also, though, is Morgan McMichaels really that horrible in real life? Okay.
She's not even mean.
Okay, because she's like... Okay, maybe it was just editing, y'all, but she seems so mean. Like, was...
Well, they let them know, like, they say, like... Because by that point, they've already done it once, you know?
Right.
And, like, for the first time you're in there, they let you not really... They don't really tell you if you're getting a villain edit or whatever.
Uh-huh.
They just spring it on you at the last minute.
Okay.
But the second time you come in, they'll tell you.
Okay.
So that you can go in, like Fifi O'Hara and All Stars 2 or whatever. Was that 2 or 3?
It was 2. It was 2.
But they definitely told her ahead of time, we want you to be a villain, and then she went in and like gave them what they wanted.
Right. Which, I don't know. I don't know if that's all editing or not.
Well, probably
to hear some of the... Anyway, so here's a question. Does the South get the credit it deserves for our queens? And would you say queens from the southeastern states have their own unique style?
Okay. Florida and Georgia are really heavy on aesthetic. Louisiana, Mississippi, and most of Texas are really heavy, and the talent, well, I'm talking about talent-wise, are really heavy into performance.
Okay, so like the dancing, the lip-syncing, everything.
But somebody like me who does all of them, you kind of have to, like, figure it out as you go. But that's like, so the South it is, but once again, it's not, like, unified in any one thing.
Okay.
So, like, whenever... Like, a lot of it now isn't even based on performance or anything. It's based on social media.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say was my perception, and this is just my perception, of the drag down here was that every drag trend started up north and just kind of trickled down into the South. Oh. Kind of like Club Kid, like the club scene, all of that.
Right.
Any kind of like different aesthetic or style or trend kind of came down here, or, except I will say, actually, you go on. We'll talk about this in
I
just
was
a
just
second.
going to say that, so New Orleans is more drag family oriented, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And that way, aesthetic is kind of passed down to you. And in that case, you are more of like a hands-on learning kind of situation when like someone's teaching you what to do. But in Mississippi, we don't really have really many drag families in a sense that are spitballing stuff off of each other, handing down clothes, like that kind of thing. So in that way, a lot of places are way more like refined aesthetically, and Mississippi has a lot of baby queens. So they're like trying to figure out what they're doing, and so in that way, they're kind of creating themselves,
Uh-huh.
which is what I did. It was actually what I did when I was coming up. But I realized, because I had a lot of like older drag influences going on,
Mm-hmm.
that would tell me, you know what, that wasn't clean.
Mm-hmm.
Go home and fix it. Do it again. And then they would just give me stuff like that, or they would say, you know, that dress looks terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't wear green. I got that a lot. Which I don't think, yeah, I don't know who can wear green. I'm a ginger, so I should be able to wear green.
I was
but
gonna
can't.
say, yeah.
But yeah, it's just stuff like that.
Okay. I was just gonna say that a big thing that came out of New Orleans, which has become a part of the drag scene, is Big Frida.
Oh my god.
First of all, if you have not listened to Big Frida's music out there, I have listeners from all over the United States.
It will change your life.
And listeners who are from outside of the continental United States in other countries, please listen to Big Frida.
Yes.
Bounce music is a specific type of rap music that was born out of New Orleans, and Big Frida is the queen of bounce music. Frida or Freddie, but mostly Frida.
Yeah.
She's done work with RuPaul. She is a walking. She's an everyday drag queen, I guess is the best way to say it. You know, in a way, you know.
And she can do anything.
She can do anything.
She has like compilations with what is it called whenever you sing with somebody?
Collaborations. Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. She has collaborations with Kesha.
Beyonce.
She has them with Lizzo.
Yes.
She has them with RuPaul. Like literally. Everyone. Yeah.
And so she's just a huge part of the New Orleans drag. And the thing is, like, you don't even have to be like that good at dancing to dance to bounce music. It's really just about shaking your ass. Yeah. You know, exactly. It's just about moving your body.
Yeah.
Which I think goes back to like.
But if you go to one of her shows, the dancing will kill you. You will be dead.
100%.
It's the best thing ever.
Real tea, she pulled me up on stage to twerk for her. And
in Hattiesburg?
Yeah.
I was there!
Oh my god, really?
Yeah!
Oh my god. Which, I was there both times.
Oh.
I got in a twerk, like, conga line, basically.
Oh, I wasn't there that time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was the time. So, y'all, real tea.
I would have been like, Jacob!
Real tea about the... Well, thank you. I hate that I missed you.
Right.
But the first time was... the state of Mississippi actually cracked down on the show and canceled it because there's a bylaw in the state laws of Mississippi that if there's a show to be had at any place that serves alcohol that could inspire lewd acts, that it cannot happen under law. They will shut the place down. So immediately she rebranded that whole thing as Mississippi is a right to twerk state.
Yes.
And she came back full force, did the show. Huge crowds. I mean, once again, that was where I did the twerk conga line.
She also did have a Vice show, right?
She did. I never got to watch it, but
I did.
I was gonna say, but I've watched different things with her, and she just seems so like down to earth and real. And actually, my good friend Rebecca McMillan, the artist formerly known as Rebecca Guy, her ex-boyfriend used to be the touring manager for Big Frida.
What? And
so Rebecca actually was very good friends with Big Frida. Hi, Rebecca. I love you.
I remember you, and I love you too.
And she would just, I don't know, like, it's so funny because I really discovered Big Frida while Rebecca was living with me. And so, it's just one of those things where it kind of came full circle. I would play Alien Isolation, and when I would get really scared, I would start singing Big Frida to myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Frida.
Yeah, we love her. So this episode is now dedicated to Big Frida. So, thank you, Queen. So, what do you say to somebody who says that drag is just a bunch of queers playing dress up, or that Drag Race is the epitome of dragdom?
If you think that drag is just a bunch of queers playing dress up, I would say you're right. But what are you doing
to a degree.
for a paycheck like I'm getting?
Oop. Big, massive oof.
That's what I say to the people that like try to like come at me, or like they say they won't date me or whatever because I'm a drag queen. I'm just like, well, whenever you have money like me, whenever you have a house,
I was gonna say, like, I don't have to work on the oil rig,
Right,
baby.
right. Because this pays better.
There you go. And you don't have to worry about anything explode. Well, I mean, a drag bar could explode, but
Well,
that would
yeah.
the drama of it all.
Oh, God.
um, yeah, no.
What was the second question? There was a two-part.
Oh, that the epitome. People who say the epitome of dragdom is being on Drag Race. Like, you're not valid until you get on Drag Race.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say about that. Drag Race is like if you imagine like a tiny puppet theater with little puppets in it, that's what Drag Race is to us. Because we all know what's going on. Look, they talk. We all talk. We all know. Everybody I know
Drag queens can't keep their damn mouth shut.
Everybody I know has an opening line. They know what spot to hit when they come in the door. We all know this stuff. It's just like, at this point, it's becoming watered down.
Yeah.
And I like having a big crowd to like talk to and to reach, but I don't like why they're coming sometimes.
Yes. Because
a lot of times they're coming because they want to see somebody who looks like Valentina. Mm-hmm. Or I get Tammy Brown a lot. Or like, oh, I thought I was going to see some Tammy Brown stuff. No, you're not, because that's not me.
Right.
That's not what drag is.
Also, there will never be another Tammy Brown.
No,
Tammy Brown is Tammy Brown.
Oh my God, like, Tammy Brown is my heart. She's so sweet. But like she does her thing. I do my thing.
Yeah.
We're not the same person. Like that's what I think. That's maybe why I go so outside the box, is because I used to do like, pardon the phrase, fishy drag.
Is that a bad phrase now? Are we not supposed to say fishy now?
Apparently, women are getting offended by it, so...
Oh.
But to that, I say, fuck you, we were here first.
Is this like the same women who are getting offended by Karen?
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
That's the same kind of thing. I mean, every bio queen I know uses the term fishy. So,
yeah.
Like, but I think it was like a bio queen, and it came up during the last Dragula season, that, like, she didn't like that because she was a biological woman, and... Mm-hmm. The whole thing, but the word is older than we all are.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep using it.
Also, we own that word. So right. I mean, you know.
I'm never gonna say your vagina smells fishy. I'm not gonna. That's not a thing I would ever say.
But like, it's not even like the term even has nothing to do with the smell of a vagina. It's all about like, oh, that's fishy. Like,
right.
You know.
It means a good thing now.
Exactly. So,
whereas I guess that other connotation would be a bad thing.
I know, unless you were divine, in which case, you know...
She probably did smell fishy, let's get real.
I was going to say, which also, like, that's another person this is dedicated to, Divine.
Oh my
Divine.
God.
Yeah, no, which, in case you didn't know, Divine is a famous drag queen, God rest her soul.
Listen to her disco album.
Oh my God. Please do, actually. Yeah, please. She was made famous in John Waters movies because she was... I mean, she's another trailblazer, really and truly, because she was just out there doing her thing, doing what John Waters told her to do, and taking it to the next level, which is... I mean... If you've seen any of his films, just go watch Pink Flamingos.
Oh my God!
Just go watch Pink Flamingos. Rest in peace, Chi Chi DeVane.
Oh, God.
Also, yeah, we lost Chi Chi DeVane this year. It's so sudden. So sudden. That's a queen from, she was from Shreveport, right?
Baton Rouge. God.
And you know, honestly, when I was going to say when I started this podcast, you know, I was hoping eventually I'd get to interview some, like, drag race queens from the South, and she was one of the ones that I would really love to interview because she was such a down-to-earth, or at least she was portrayed as very down-to-earth.
She was.
You know, salt of the earth.
She was so sweet. So sweet. And honestly, I didn't get to see, you know, it's like a weird thing where if you don't see the body, you don't know they're dead.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about her. Like, I didn't see the body, but I mean, it should have been that way because it was a private thing. Like, nobody, you know, we all, yeah.
Yeah.
So she,
yeah,
is best that way, I think. But, so she's gonna live forever in my head.
So, what influence do you think the art of drag has had on American society, and what influence do you think it should have?
Well, I will say that drag is probably just as old as society because there are cave paintings in France of cavemen doing drag.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
You can look it up. Yeah. So it's a need we all have for entertainment, and it's been there almost as long as people have. So how can you argue with that? I mean, how can you say it's wrong when there are documented cases of it in every period of history?
Yeah.
And finally they're starting to come out. Because they were people always use like Oscar Wilde as an example of like one of the first, but he wasn't the first.
He wasn't. I mean, even if you want to count the first of all, Chinese opera,
Yes, yeah.
I mean, in the Western world, we started using ladies and men's parts probably back in the 1800s,
Yeah.
right? Or ladies and ladies parts, rather.
Ladies and ladies parts
Yeah.
goes back to the 1600s because Charles II's girlfriend wanted to be on stage,
Yeah.
so he changed the law.
I was gonna say, like, right after Shakespeare was gone, they were like, "Oh, you know what? Ladies can play ladies now. It doesn't have to just be men."
But it is so fun. If you are a guy who does drag, I love Shakespeare, but whenever I was in high school, I got the chance to play Lady Macbeth.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it really, like, those characters are so well written.
I was gonna say, low key, one of my dream roles.
Yeah,
honestly.
right,
Exactly.
I played,
seriously.
Because I played Miss Hannigan and Annie.
Yes.
Because my teacher was just open to it. And everybody called me faggot anyway, so why didn't I get the good parts? I played the lady in Importance of Being Earnest, Lady Bracknell. I got to play that.
Bracknell,
that was my senior project in high school.
Oh my god. How about that? I was also just gonna say, as far as the influence that it currently has, I think, like, it's everywhere in its own weird way. Like, when I was like younger, I remember my brother doing a womanless beauty pageant.
Yes.
Because that was I don't think they do that anymore, but
I don't know. I think they do.
But I have not seen one since around that time. But back in like 2006, 2007, like up until then, like fundraising, they would get all of the local like men in the town together, and they could do a womanless beauty pageant where they would dress up like ladies and do a really shitty job of it, which is all fine and good.
Right. But that's normalized drag, motherfucker.
I was gonna say, so like, if you're okay with that, then you got to be okay with Drag Race too.
Right.
So
Why
like,
not?
yeah, and they didn't none of them did a good job of it.
Right.
Not a single one.
No, never.
Balloon titties just don't count.
Water balloon.
Look at all the work that she put into this. None of that. Just because, anyway, just because you're wearing your wife's church dress, Kenny, does not mean that you're on the same level.
You would think that would make them see us in a way that's more like, oh, I did drag one time. But it's not. It's like the opposite.
No, exactly. It is.
I think part of it is if they see a boy painted to be a girl that they find attractive.
Yes.
I think that's where the problem comes in. I think they're scared of that.
They are, no, and that's why, like, and I hate the term trap.
Just come to my show because you're not going to be attracted.
Same here. I mean, if you are attracted to this,
I mean, you can have.
Don't at me. I was gonna say, don't at me. But yeah, I think once again, it goes back to that horrible word that I hate, trap. Where,
trap queen.
Yeah, and like I just. Whenever, it's just a thing like...
First of all, I've got news. They're not getting trapped. They know that's a man.
Exactly.
It's just an excuse to be gay.
Exactly. And second of all, it's just another way for them to express their heterosexuality, because even if you're not a drag queen, they're like, I don't mind as long as you don't try to come on to me. And it's like...
Why'd you even say that?
Baby, like, I'm not coming on to you, Cletus.
Did they tell that to women?
It's
okay, but I'm married.
Right, exactly.
I don't like you.
So, yeah, so, like, I don't know. What influence should it have?
I think that, okay, the way I see it, I like it because I feel like, there's that little, like, crumb in there that they did drag. Mm-hmm. They did it. Mm-hmm. It's in there. And so if they start remembering that, maybe it'll like I get a lot of straight guys that come to my shows. I do.
I know I know that there are straight men who do drag.
Right. What's her name? Disasterina from Dragula does. She has a great show on Twitch. Uh, but like, just understand. Empathy.
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 Absolutely.
We all have it.
Yes.
Why don't you have it?
And I think, but also at the same time, I don't necessarily think that, because my initial response to that was like, well, I think that everyone should try drag once, or at least try to express themselves that way, because, you know, we talked about the body being a canvas for you to express whatever you need with, but then I thought, like, well, would Gaga be as impactful if everyone else was doing it? Would David Bowie be as impactful if everyone else was doing
Absolutely.
what David Bowie was doing? So I guess do your own drag. I guess is the best way to describe it. Do your own drag, but everyone out there, if you just...
Well, I think a bigger thing is, if you are that against doing it, I think that's what you need to figure out.
Yes.
Figure out what it is about it that scares you. I mean, I'm almost 7 feet tall right now. That could be scary. Yes. I'm not really sure. But, you know, whatever kind of phobia you have against it, that's what you got to figure out.
Yes. So yeah. One last question. If you had any words of wisdom that you could impart upon your younger self, which this is an interesting question for you because you've never been closeted, so
right.
What would they be?
I would say trust yourself. Trust yourself. Because it's taken me like 30 years to do that. And I'm only 33. So, like, yeah, trust yourself. And don't die. Because, like, I can't count on how many times I've almost died. And it's a lot. But it's because I'm a person who takes all chances. Like, I don't let anything pass me by. And I think that's how I got to be so successful, is just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. It's all art.
Yeah.
You're never going to regret doing art, ever. And that's how I live. I live my life that way. And I think it's important because if you keep on censoring yourself, the Republicans win.
Yes.
And, like, I also feel like, you know, we fight a lot as gay people. We fight a lot. We talked about that already. But you can say whatever you want to me. Sometimes it's just how you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why a lot of the baby queens have to take time to figure that out, because they come at it like, well, I'm the only one right and nobody else is right.
Yes.
None of us can live that way.
Right.
We're all wrong, half of the time at least. So if we listen to each other, then we can put together a strong front that will, because, I mean, we didn't think Trump was going to win the last one.
Yeah.
And it might happen again, we don't know.
Right. Well, and I don't think, let's be clear.
Be prepared.
I was going to say, but also let's be clear, nobody's really thrilled about Joe Biden.
No.
There were better candidates.
Yes.
However,
Kamala Harris, however.
That's a discussion for off the recording.
Okay.
However, yes, at least it seems like a progressive step forward.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So yeah, and you know, back to, you know, trusting yourself, you know, I think that's another part of why I decided to include this in the Halloqueenery, is because, you know, drag can be something that's so scary for people. You know, we talked about the straight men being afraid of it, but also, you know, like, being afraid to be yourself in that way, and, you know, how alien it is for you to become a completely different person, you know?
Right.
So yeah, trust yourself, everybody. Trust yourself.
Right.
Um,
And
yeah.
sometimes if you step outside of yourself, you can see how to fix things that you don't like about yourself.
Yes.
Which is probably not good advice at all. But I know that just through watching my drag recordings is how I get better and better and better and better. And I say, that move didn't look good. I have a severely curved spine, so like I have to be careful about how I move,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I forget. But see yourself. I think it's important to see yourself fully.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important.
Well, Wesley, Annie, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for opening up your home. Thank you for such a big conversation and big episode.
Right.
And we cannot wait to have you back on because I really would love to have you back on. And audience, please look forward in the future. It doesn't have to be Halloween for us to talk about drag. I plan on having many drag queens on Out in the Woods because, like we said, anyone can be a drag queen. So that presents the opportunity for many different perspectives. So yeah, any other shout outs you'd like to make?
October 17th, Brewskis in Hattiesburg is having their first ever drag show. And those are some of my sisters, and I need you to go out and support them.
Yes.
Because we need that to become a thing.
Yeah.
And second of all, I gotta shout out my girl, Madam Willow. Madam Willow Shogul. Look her up on Facebook.
Willow Shogul, thank you for your spoopy drag. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
She's the spoopiest.
Well guys, yeah. Let's go be fierce, spooky, fishy, and overall beat for the gods. That was a pathetic tongue pop.
Same. My tongue's a little dry.
As it is written, so shall it be. This Halloween night, a billion baby drag queens will be born, hatching forth from their sequined, glittery eggs. And if you happen to be one of those, please don't hesitate to send me a photo and information about your drag persona at ontwpodcast@gmail.com, on my Twitter or Instagram at ontw_podcast, or you can send me a private message on Facebook at Out in the Woods Podcast. Don't hesitate to follow me there as well. If you guys love this podcast, please rate, review, subscribe on YouTube and hit the bell notification button. Leave likes and comments. Send me a voice message on Anchor at anchor.fm/ONTW. Support all the good causes. Support your local drag artists. And please keep it spooky. Y'all, thank you so much for coming out in the woods and in to my drag closet.